Scheduled sleeping habits are associated with sound health. Adults with the healthiest sleep patterns such as morning rising, sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day and no frequent insomnia, snoring or excessive daytime sleepiness, experienced a 40% reduction in the risk of illness, compared to those with unhealthy sleep patterns. Another basis of conflict between scientists is the means by which Mars with its freezing surface temperature could accommodate fluid water, causing the affidavits of waterways and lakes noticeable on the planet today. Fluid water is a precondition for the collecting of natural particles. As English became the predominant language around the world, a tremendous number of individuals are learning it. The time of English language procurement is likewise bringing down simultaneously. Actually, I trust it is essential for an individual from a non-English talking network to learn English. Initially seen purely as centers of entertainment, zoos were often heavily criticized in society for keeping animals captive. Nowadays, zoos have a lot more to offer than perhaps some people realize. Good zoos have changed their focus and are now responding to environmental problems. The program acknowledges that contemporary markets are increasingly complex in terms of culture and demand, that information and communication are crucial for success, and that social responsibility for sustainability and corporate entrepreneurship are crucial. Marriage is a big step in anyone's life, and there is an argument to be made against getting married too early. As any newlywed couple knows, there is a huge amount of financial pressure associated with marriage. Firstly, the wedding reception and honeymoon will cost you an arm and a leg. Then there's the matter of home loans, rent, and energy bills. If you're looking to start a family, your child's education is another thing you need to save up for. If you have a chronic disease such as heart disease, diabetes, asthma, or back or joint pain, exercise can have important health benefits. However, it is important to talk to your doctor before starting an exercise routine. He or she might have advice on what exercises are safe and any precautions you might need to take while exercising. Tesla came over from Greece and went to work for Thomas Edison. Nonetheless, Edison offered him a job, promising Tesla $50,000 if Tesla could redesign Edison's breakdown-prone DC generator designs. The new generator designs were a vast improvement over Edison's originals. Upon completing the job, Tesla went to Edison to collect the $50,000 promised for the task. Tesla actually worked for Edison in his early career. Edison offered to pay him the modern equivalent of $1 million to fix the problems he was having with his DC generators and motors. Tesla fixed Edison's machines, and when he asked for the money he was promised, Edison laughed him off and had this to say: "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor. Many people believe that employers discriminate against older people because youths have more energy and creativity. This is not true. The main reason for hiring younger workers is payroll. In most countries, your salary is dependent on how many years of work experience you have. A middle layer of nickel, which gives the bots magnetic polarity, so they can be pulled through wastewater with magnets. And platinum inside for propulsion. Just add a bit of peroxide to the wastewater, and it'll react with the platinum to form water and oxygen bubbles, which propel the tubes along. The term supernova was coined in the 1930s by a memorably odd astrophysicist named Fritz Zwicky. Born in Bulgaria and raised in Switzerland, Zwicky came to the California Institute of Technology in the 1920s and there as once distinguished himself by his abrasive personality and erratic talents. He didn't seem to be outstandingly bright, and many of his colleagues considered him little more than an irritating buffoon. Domestication is an evolutionary, rather than a political development. They were more likely to survive and prosper in an alliance with humans than on their own. Humans provided the animals with food and protection, in exchange for which the animals provided the humans their milk and eggs and yes their flesh. A young man from a small provincial town, a man without independent wealth, without powerful family connections and without a university education, moved to London in the late 1580s and, in a remarkably short time, became the greatest playwright not of his age alone but of all time. How did Shakespeare become Shakespeare? Lincoln's apparently radical change of mind about his war power to emancipate slaves was caused by the escalating scope of war, which convinced him that any measure to weaken the Confederacy and strengthen the Union war effort was justifiable as a military necessity. The textbook selected and graded items of language which were put into context and then practiced intensively. New items were carefully controlled so that the student could cope with quite easily. Now that English is used as a medium of instruction, however, all this has changed. Unknown items of grammar and vocabulary appear in texts which attempt to explain new and often difficult information. Akimbo, this must be one of the odder-looking words in the language. It puzzles us in part because it doesn't seem to have any relatives. What's more, it is now virtually a fossil word, until recently almost invariably found in arms, akimbo, a posture in which a person stands with hands on hips and elbows sharply bent outward, one that signals impatience and hostility. Yellow is considered as the most optimistic color, yet surprisingly, people lose their tempers most often in yellow rooms and babies will cry more. The reason may be that yellow is the hardest color for eyes to take in, so it can be overpowering if overused. Cheerful sunny yellow is an attention getter. While it is considered an optimistic color, people lose their tempers more often in yellow rooms, and babies will cry more. It is the most difficult color for the eye to take in, so it can be overpowering if overused. Yellow enhances concentration, hence it is used for legal pads. It also speeds metabolism. The situation is similar to a pregnant woman that has twin babies in her belly. Avi Loeb of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. He's proposing the idea in a paper that's been accepted for publication in the Astrophysical Journal Letters.